Brian, Robb, Jay King, and Sam Packett present Steel Bottle, Steel Bottle, Boston Celtics, Steel Bottle, Steel Bottle. Oh yeah! Steel Bottle, Steel Bottle, Boston Celtics, Steel Bottle, Steel Bottle. Banner 19. Jalen Brown, G. White, Crazy Joe. Steel Bottle, Steel Bottle. When Tatum coming back. Steel Bottle, Steel Bottle, Steel Bottle, Steel Bottle. Boston Celtics, Steel Bottle, Steel Bottle. Oh yeah!
Come on, long guy wants to win. Don't get the next generation.
Let's go, your family fan Celtics. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Your family fan Celtics. Let's go.
What up, everybody? This is Jay King from The Athletic. I'm here with Brian Robb from MassLive.com. Together, we are still potable. This is one of two free shows per week, which means we are presented by the CLNS Network and Prize Picks. If you want to sign up and get our show daily, we are Monday through Friday show. Sign up at patreon.com/stillpotable. You'll get all our episodes ad-free. But we give two away now for free to the people. We are coming to you today, the morning after an absurd Celtics offensive performance. Just a ridiculous offensive performance. Sam Hauser finished one shy again of Marcus Smart's single game 3-point record. One day Hauser might get that, but last night was not that day. It seems like he's cursed. Every time he gets close, weird shit happens.
Yeah, if it's not going to happen in that game on Saturday night, it's hard to think about a time you'll get a better chance because everything was set up for it, Jay. The man had a full quarter essentially to do it, and damn it, the basketball gods got in the way.
And the Hawks, they started paying a little more attention to him, but it wasn't like they were totally selling out to stop him from getting the record. It wasn't like they got real prideful all of a sudden and were doing whatever they could. Like when Jalen got close to 50 against the Clippers started just going way out of their way to force the ball out of his hands to try to stop him from getting to 50. Whereas I didn't feel like Atlanta tried anything special to stop Hauser. And even so, he missed 6 straight.
Just destroyed his percentages, Jay.
Yeah, he was 10 for 15 and then finished 10 for 21. The good news was he did set an NBA record while failing to set a Celtics record.
He's in the books.
So he was the first player ever to take 21 3-point attempts in a single game without attempting a single 2. So shout out to him. Yeah, Packers.
I don't know if is that going to be broken anytime soon? Probably not.
Packer thought he was going to be 2-point daddy, and he's now officially 3-point daddy. There's no 2-point possibility there. 20. Yeah, that might. It was funny. He was joking about it after the game and after his press conference, and he was kind of like, that might never be broken because it was at 17 before. 4 guys were tied at 17.
Right. And you look at the list of who, the 24, I think, was the record for most attempts in the game. And the names on a list that had 24, 23, 22, obviously had all taken 2s. And it's guys like Curry, Harden, guys that just aren't pure specialists like Hauser of that's the one thing they do. And so, yeah, I don't think anyone's coming close to this anytime soon because 21 he didn't even come close to taking it 2. There wasn't even any consideration. I don't know if he looked at the rim inside the 3-point line over most of that game, period.
Yeah, well, the Hawks didn't really force the Celtics to deviate from their plan A very often. And I mean, that second quarter, Celtics played unbelievably, but to have a 50.
Yeah, I guess Trae Young You feel like Jay Frizz in a second, but the Trae Young may not have been the Hawks' only problem on defense. It felt like
and they've been pretty good on defense without Trae, and they didn't have Dyson Daniels, obviously,
that hurts.
who's a great defender. They were in the first game back home after a long road trip, which can be a really tough one to play. They didn't have Kristaps Porzingis, obviously, who has been out for a little while and did not play against his former team. Kristaps did have some nice moments with the Celtics players afterward. He fake punched Jaylen Brown a little bit. They did a little boxing thing and chatted with each other for a little while. He chatted with basically all his old teammates at midcourt after the game. It's been sort of a frustrating season for Kristaps, dealing with the illness, dealing with injuries, and that was always kind of one of the stories of his Celtics time. It was only 2 years he was with the Celtics, but just missed a frustrating amount of time. And I mean, as well as he played during the championship run, and as much as he brought them during the championship run, I thought he was just as detracting from what they wanted to do last season. It wasn't his fault. It was an illness, a mysterious illness that he couldn't get a hang of. But he was so bad trying to play through that illness. Joe Mazzulla probably should have gone away from him, especially knowing what we know now, which is that Nimi was sitting there on the bench and capable of playing some pretty impactful minutes. Luke Cornett was the other option. It could have gone more to him and Al Horford, and instead they just kept going back to Kristaps, and his minutes were a disaster almost every night.
Yeah, it's after that game 1 against the Knicks, it was one of those things where you're just like, in hindsight, I wonder Joe's young coach at that point. He believes in his guys. He's a very loyal guy, and that's too, works out for him very well. But without a doubt, in that series, that was a big blunder, and certainly was part of the equation why that team fell down 3-1 even before Tatum got hurt. So
and we don't have to
we don't have to harp on that, but now it's but now you're seeing this isn't a huge shock for Porzingis somewhere else, unfortunately. This is the kind of, even before the illness, this has kind of been the story of his career. And it's too bad that, hopefully he can get healthy and give it a shot. I don't know if the Hawks are going to trade him at the deadline here. It's going to be kind of fascinating to see what his future will be. But regardless, now you can see the Celtics with better help from the front court all year long. The consistency there has certainly helped them a ton on this team. And another great night from Nimi and Garza. And we even got a peek at Mr. Triple-Double with the main Celtics. Amari Williams was had played the whole fourth quarter and had his moments there too.
It's kind of crazy that the Celtics lost everything they did in their front court and have still gotten productive play from their front court for the most part all season. Obviously, the first month or so, every Luka Garza minute was a debacle, and then they had to go small and went to Josh Minot at center. But ever since they went back to Garza, he's been solid. The second unit's been solid, and then Nimi all year has just been giving them impactful two-way play where he's protecting the rim, he's finishing around the rim, he's just been a helpful player. And so to go from an embarrassment of riches in the front court to now having, two basically Anemi's a brand new starter. He was a fourth string last year. Luka Garza never played before. And you're still getting productive minutes out of them. And not only that, but those two guys have helped the Celtics create a brand new strength, which is offensive rebounding, which has been a huge deal for them. They've climbed to second in offensive rating. So it's kind of stunning that their front court's been as good as it has been. And it definitely has some flaws, some limitations that maybe weren't there last season. But the disaster scenario where Nemi's not ready for minutes and Garza is just not good, it's very much gone the other way where both of those guys have panned out and the Celtics are playing some great basketball.
Yeah, I mean, before the season, we're talking about just bottom 5 front court in the NBA, worst front court in the NBA, all legitimate questions. And now they've been, like I said, after the first month, they've been a middle of the pack front court. And some nights even better than that in the NBA. And that goes a long way when you have everything else that's been going right for this team. But that consistency has been there ever since, the pretty much all year for Nemi and ever since Garza's come back in the rotation here. So it's huge. And on a night where, going back to the second quarter, Jay, of just like these performances, like you have one of these in Atlanta, you have one of these against the Clippers a few weeks ago in LA. And it is almost in these plays, it's like the Hawks and the Clippers were not like this bad. It was more like the Celtics were just this good on offense. And that's where I look at this team now and think, okay, like this is halfway through the season now, Jay. We are officially. They're on a 52 win pace. Their point differential is top 3 in the NBA, and they are just kicking the absolute crap out of what were some respectable defenses on any given nights. Even on a night they're not at full strength. So I don't know. This was just one on a long list of performances that makes me buy in on this team more right now.
I got a kick out of Miami Heat fans on Twitter being mad that Spoelstra benched Khalil Ware.
That game especially.
Because do people remember what happened when Khalil Ware played the Celtics the last time? Because they went right at him and got 3 after 3 after 3. I think they hit like 6 out of 7 threes or something to begin the fourth quarter. Just had ridiculous shot quality throughout that whole stretch, and were able to pick on him and abuse him and just torture him. And then Heat fans are gonna complain that Khalil Ware doesn't play. Did you watch that? Literally, did you watch that? He was an enormous minus, and the Celtics were able to pick him apart, and they can do that. They can just really make guys look bad. They have so much shooting, even without Peyton Pritchard last night in Atlanta. It's like Sam Hauser gets up 21 threes. They have guys who get volume everywhere. Derek White shoots a ton of volume now. Jaylen Brown is just operating from the mid-range and getting to the cup at will. He was just dominant against Atlanta.
A ho-hum 41-point night for him.
Ho-hum 41-point night. And he was just getting whatever he wanted. But it's just really hard to, and especially now that they're starting Hauser, like it's just really hard to help and send the appropriate help to Jaylen, because there's just shooting everywhere around him. And when we talk about the front court, it wasn't just the centers that was a huge question mark. It's what were they going to do at power forward without Jason Tatum?
Sure.
And lately it's been Hauser in the starting lineup. Before that, it was Jordan Walsh. You can go to Hugo Gonzalez. You just have Baylor Shireman can play there. You can go to different options, and they've all had pretty good years. Hauser's 3-point percentage were going to be way up there until the final 6 misses. And so we are going to draft his misses as the potable 6-pack. But first, let's go to a ad read from our friends at Prize Picks.
All right. This podcast is brought to you by Prize Picks on the CLNS network. Jay, big weekend of football. I don't know if there's been even the level of games that we're seeing this weekend has been unbelievable. So Prize Picks is a great spot to go to enjoy everything about this weekend. There's actually a special Prize Picks discount right now through the app on 3 p.m. Sunday. This weekend, CJ Stroud just needs 1 passing yard to win. So it's a pretty impressive promo on Prize Picks right now that listeners can take advantage of there. And other things about Prize Picks I love, they've got injury protection, which is a big thing when you're using something like this. And there's a new feature where there's early payouts. So if your player gets off to a hot start, you have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. And at Prize Picks, whether you're starting a new routine or making picks for the first time, trying something can be hard, but life in Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high pressure playoff matchups every weekend right now and elite hoop action almost every night, the action never stops, and Prize Picks lets you take control. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use this code CONS50, CONS, I should say, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CONS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right. How are we going to do this? Set the parameters for this 6-pack.
So we usually do snake drafts. I don't think we do snake draft here.
Okay.
Well, you know what? We always do snake draft. We're going to do
snake
snake draft here. I'm going to give you the first pick. We are going to draft the most entertaining Sam Hauser misses in his 6th straight stretch to end the game. It was a hilarious stretch. It was, so he got his 10th three with 7:55 left. Over the next 3 minutes, he took 6 threes, missed them all. Some of them were very bad misses. And then finally after that, the Celtics just pulled the plug on trying to get him the record, took him out with 4:55 left. And Jaylen Brown was like cackling on the sideline, like just having so much fun, thought it was hilarious. Jaylen, after the game, was like, oh, yeah, that stretch was terrible. Like, Jaylen brought up the last time that Hauser tried to set the record when he made his 10th, like, what was it, midway through the 3rd quarter, and then sprained his ankle.
Yep.
And so he didn't get a chance to beat Marcus Smart there. Sweetchy, your colleague at Mass Live, thinks that Marcus Smart has set a curse on the record and that it will never fall. That he has cursed it, and anybody who gets close is bound to run into some sort of problems.
It's a fair point by Suichi. It's certainly trending in that direction. Yeah, so I look back at all these 6 misses this morning.
They were majestic.
I mean, this is just dynamite stuff. This is a really tough first pick. I am going to go with his second miss, though, which was a pass back to him off an offensive rebound, and he just did the step back turnaround 3, I believe, over Okongwu. And that's just, it got to a point where we got into desperation mode really quickly for Sam Hauser. There weren't many clean looks here, but the fact that we're doing that in a 40-point game with 14 left on the shot clock, this was immediate, being like, I just want to get this done with now, and I don't care how obvious I'm going to make this. We're gonna go balls to the wall here, and yeah, that one missed pretty poorly.
Yeah, it was just special. It really was. My first pick is going to be his 3rd attempt during this stretch. So he came around a screen, had literally no separation. There was a defender in his face. He leaned in and shot a 3 that, like, under no circumstances would he have ever tried if he wasn't hunting for a record. And the unspoken part of this is, like, he needed 2 threes.
Yeah.
He had 8 minutes left, and he needed 2 more threes. And when you think about it, like, you think he has a lot of time, 8 minutes left to make at least 1 3, preferably 2. And then you're like, 2 threes in a quarter? If you do that all the time, you make 8 threes per game. That is a lot of threes to make in a quick amount of time, especially when the defense knows that you're red hot and they're going to be guarding you. So he was just firing. And I thought that was the funniest one because like just leaning in, like almost got contact. He actually gave it a pretty good shot. Like it was somehow online. He's an incredible shooter, but that was hilarious. And then my second pick, I'm going to take the first 3-point attempt he had during this stretch, which he missed by a mile. It was probably the most open look he got during this stretch. And he's on the left wing. They feed him. I believe it was in transition. And just sails left and like smashes off the backboard. And he had been absolutely blistering hot before that, 10 for 15 before that. And then that sort of set the tone for his failed pursuit. That was the one that makes you think maybe Marcus Smart really did curse this thing and just absolutely shanked a pretty open look. And he hit some tough shots before that. The one he hit right before halftime when he like ran backwards and just like turned and fired it up and threw it super high in the air and was just kind of bouncing before the ball even went in. Like he was on some sort of roll, and then it all just went to hell when he shanked it on his opening attempt to tie the record.
I mean, I kind of put this on Joe. Joe Mazzulla had to call a timeout there and just, get everyone, rest the legs, draw something up on the board, be like, we got to get you a couple here because this was Hauser lost it early. Once that first miss was by that badly, you knew like, oh, this is going to be a struggle here.
And they were all trying to find him.
Right.
He took, after he got one short of Smart's record, he took 5 of the next 6 Celtics shots, and they were all 3-point attempts, and they did not go in.
No, I don't think Sam Hauser's in position to be able to handle 20 shots a game based on this performance.
A lot of shots.
My next 2 picks are going to be his last 2 3-point attempts. These were, I thought, pretty clean. One was coming off just the top of the key. One was a offensive rebound kick out, maybe his best look next to that first one. And again, the man was out of gas. The man had nothing left in the tank at this point. This was about both were in the 5-minute mark of the fourth quarter. He had just missed 4 in a row. Confidence maybe wavering. Clearly, though, the whole world knew what was going on, and his teammates, to their credit, kept looking for him. But his teammates would have been better off giving him another minute or 2 break. But the problem was he was up against it because even being in this game at this point, up 40, Joe was playing with Mazzulla was playing borrowed time with having him in that long. This is a long road trip. The rest of the starters sat out the entire fourth quarter. So those are my 2. And I don't know, in hindsight, it's like how funny it would have been if they like brought the starters back on the floor for a couple minutes to make it easier for Hauser to get the open looks.
It was I thought Joe Mazzulla gave a great answer and basically said you want him to hunt the record when he has a chance. But then it's like, but you don't want to disrespect the game. Yeah. It really was. It got to the point where it was disrespectful of basketball. It was disrespectful of the Atlanta Hawks. It was disrespectful of the Boston Celtics. It was disrespectful of Marcus Smart's record. It was disrespectful of Sam Hauser as his shooting percentages for the night just plummeted. It really like their quality of play just disintegrated for that 3-minute stretch. And it really was like just a funny stretch. Kind of reminded me, was it the Knicks opening night last year when they almost set the NBA record for most threes as a team in a single game?
Correct.
I think they missed their last 12 or 13 threes in that game, and it was just comical. Like they were.
And Hauser was probably part of that too, right? He must have been on the floor.
Hauser was absolutely a part of that. He puckers when it's time to chase history. He puckers. I cannot believe the last one that I get, because this was a hysterical shot attempt. The fact that it lasted this long in the draft goes to show the quality of misses and hilarious misses that we are drafting here. So 6 minutes left. He had just missed like the leaning, like nonsense going to his left, and or and then he comes with the dribble. It's kind of late in the shot, and he does a shimmy pull, in whose face was it? I can't tell whose face that is. Shimmy pull with a defender right in his chest, leans in, misses, and then understands it's going to be a miss immediately and races after it, follows his shot all the way to the rim. It was a very funny miss. The shimmy pull. Was it Kispert? Yeah, it was with Kispert like literally in his chest, and Hauser knew it instantly that shot wasn't coming close. But those 6 misses, it was something else. It was something else. It was a sight to behold. It was great. Like at the end of a 40-point blowout, to have that type of entertainment was just fantastic. At the end of it, like Amari Williams was out there, and they still had Hauser out there. They were clearly just trying to get him to tie the record. Just couldn't get there. Just could not get there. Couldn't finish the quest.
It almost deserves an oral history, I feel like. Those attempts, like that's when you have to read that in the Athletic in a maybe later this season, Jay.
I should have written an oral history of Sam Hauser.
It's tough to do that on the night of, but maybe
that would have been awesome. It would have been that would have been my most proud moment on the Celtics beat. It really did deserve that. The second quarter could have used one too.
Right, I mean that could exactly. It's kind of got buried
52
near the
points in the second quarter. 17 for 26 as a team. They hit, I believe it was 11 3-pointers in the quarter.
73% from 3.
11 for 15 from 3. They just kind of touched God for a quarter. They fell 2 points shy of the franchise record for most points in a quarter. That's pretty good.
Not bad. We haven't talked about this guy, and we haven't even talked to you since the Miami game. Where are you with Simons right now in general on this team? Obviously, they're like Packer and I talked about how the whole fan base, or not the whole fan base, but everyone's, you got to keep him now. He's playing too well. He's too important. Obviously, that was potentially could always happen anyway, but is this stretch influencing you at all in terms of how you think this will be broached, or is this still got to still keep big picture ideas in mind with this team going forward, despite how well they're doing right now?
I think it's not just about the big picture, because Jason Tatum is coming back.
Yeah.
And that will change everything. Like, you're bringing back a 28, 30-point a game scorer who's going to have the ball in his hands a ton, and it's going to impact the touches and shot attempts of everybody from Jaylen Brown down. And when you get to Anthony Simons, who's coming off the bench and doing a great job, like, salute to Anthony Simons. He's bought in. He's competing defensively. He's just totally ignitable. He's such an ignitable scorer. When he gets hot, just like give him the rock and let him work magic. But I do think that Tatum coming back is just like such a change that it's going to impact everybody, and that what Anthony Simons is doing today is not going to be his role tomorrow. Between him and Peyton Pritchard, one of them is going to see their role like cut pretty significantly, I think, when Tatum gets back, and you still need another big man. And so that's where I say it has nothing to do with what Simons has done. To me, the luxury tax at this point, like of course, if you can get out of the luxury tax, go ahead and do it. But this team is worth paying up for. This team is worth like not taking a step back financially for. This team is worth trying to bulk up the roster if you can. And I still think, like I said, you try to get under the luxury tax if you can. But I just think like Simons, as much as he's doing right now, just won't be the same when Tatum gets back. And that's where you have to rearrange the roster, and that's where you have to sort of fill in the holes that you do have on your roster. I think the biggest hole is at center, and you can kind of, once Tatum gets back, like you just have another ignitable scorer, and he takes Simons' role and is obviously much better. And then you just balance out the roster and try to get somebody. And Simons, like, what makes him a trade candidate, like you could talk about trading Hauser instead.
Sure.
But at
Not
that
after
point,
or
like,
after
I
that
wouldn't
before.
trade a guy just to trade a guy.
No.
I would, at this point, it would be trade somebody to try to get a center, to try to rebalance the roster, to try to address the one real weakness of the roster, which is that you only have one center probably who's capable enough defensively for a playoff series.
I understand. Like, you have to think about it with the playoff rotation in mind. I'm with you on
That has to be it.
And Simons is not. I mean, he's he played off the bench in Portland way back in his career, but he's a luxury once Tatum comes back on the floor, and then how much he's going to play, how much he's going to impact the playoff series period remains to be seen, particularly if they're back at full strength roster wise. The center position, without a doubt, is going to be an area that if the Celtics want to get serious about getting out of the East this year, like they have to address that in some form. To the degree of which they do that, they can do that with a smaller ad, a bigger, like I guess they have options there. But in my mind, that needs to be addressed in some fold. And Simons is, I think, maybe the easiest way to do that, just from a
yeah.
salary
I
standpoint.
think, what if they like used one of their younger wings and like Xavier Tillman to try to go after Day'Ron Sharp and like picks?
Right. And that would be fine too, I feel like. I mean, that's the point of like a move like that, I think, has become more possible with the last few weeks, from the standpoint of being like, all right, can we address this? Can we upgrade the center spot and leave everything else intact, if you will, for the rest of this year? But you're obviously, to get something, like, you're going to have to give up something, like, and if you're going to give up a young wing or Simons, like, I think that's a debate too, given how well, again, these wings are going to be luxuries too once Tatum comes back, but they've also shown something and they're under cost control for a few years now. So it's going to be fascinating to see what direction they go in on that front too.
Has it got to the point where Bill Chisholm's going to look bad if they do trade Anthony Simons? Like, if they trade him and shed X amount of dollars, is he going to look bad if that happens?
I think it depends on what's coming back.
Yeah.
Like, if they cut money, but you still get a legitimate big man coming back, I don't think you can knock that at all. I think that's just
smart.
That's just good. That's just smart business. And yeah, like if you're saving $40 million this year so you can spend that money next year, like that works too. If they trade Simons for, like, I don't know, Nurkic or something like that, where you get cost savings, and then it's like, all right, what's Nurkic going to do in a playoff series? That sort of move, I think that's the one you can be like, all right, is that the direction they should have gone in?
Yeah, I think that type of move was on the table over the summer.
For sure.
That was something they were looking into, where you don't really get much of anything back except cap savings.
Right.
Now I think the conversation is different. Now, if you do move Anthony Simons, you better be getting back a player who helps you, because he's proven he can help you. And he's proved, like, their offense has been pretty much unstoppable for 2 months now.
Yeah. It's wild.
2 months now, nobody can slow them down. Jaylen Brown has been going off, and the shooters around him just drain shots, and they get a ton of offensive rebounds. They never turn the ball over. And Simons has come in, and that bench has just crushed people. They've crushed people
night after night. And Simons, I think he's up to, like, he's shooting over 50% from three. in January. His plus minus numbers in December were off the charts. Again, that's not all just him, though. That's more attributed to the bench. But his consistency has been there for 6 weeks now, it seems like. And yeah, that's not something you trade away lightly when you are, the second seed in the East and have a very favorable schedule coming up into the heading of the trade deadline. So you could really separate yourself from the rest of the pack in the East. And no, you're not going to catch the Pistons, I don't think, but you could definitely get comfortable in that number 2 spot before Tatum's return.
Has he totally changed the market for him, do you think? Like,
I
are
wonder-
there teams that wouldn't have been interested 2 months ago that are now looking at Anthony Simons and thinking, you know what? We thought this guy might be empty calories before. He's clearly not empty calories. He just needed better players around him, better system, better coaching. And now he's doing all the same things he used to do offensively, but he's also contributing to winning. He's taking away nothing from the guys around him. He's competing defensively. And you know what? Like a Houston or somebody is like, we could plug this guy in and he would make a big difference for us and give us a level of shot making and playmaking that we just don't have right now. And also we could get away with it defensively because of the way he's competing.
Right. It's fascinating to think about, like what I don't think the problem, Jay, is I feel again that the guard position is so deep around the league. I don't think there's many teams where it changes on, but if you're just a couple, like Houston, I think it's a big one. I don't know how much they're willing to offer, how much the Celtics would be interested in what they're willing to offer there. But then you go up and down like the Eastern Conference. Obviously, like a team like the Bucks are in desperation move. They certainly could use some more offensive firepower. I know, to say the least. But I don't think it's going to. But that, or are they going to actually give again? The Celtics aren't. What are the Celtics interested in doing on that roster? They're not going to want to take back a bad contract like Kuzma or Portis. I feel like for Simons that has long-term money attached. So yeah, I think his value has changed, but I don't necessarily think that's going to impact what type of move the Celtics make with him because I think the focus again, unless they have a secondary move that's coming attached with him, like you need to improve the roster or at least improve the depth chart if you're going to move him at this point. And I'm not sure the teams that are out there that could use him are going to be able to help you do that.
Let's say they do keep him. Let's say in the next few weeks, Brad Stevens decides, I just can't trade this guy. He's playing too well. This team is playing too well with him on the court. Let's keep him, move forward with this group, see what happens when Tatum gets back. What kind of contract would you be thinking about keeping him on moving forward? Or would it just be like, keep him to the end of the season, play out this year, and then as well as he's played, say goodbye because he's going to make more money than the Celtics can realistically afford?
Yeah. It's probably going to be a lot. I guess I'd top out at like a mid-level money for him. And it almost be a situation where it's like fitting in on the payroll for this team going forward. It's like a him or Hauser situation probably. And I don't think you can afford to keep both of those guys making $10 to $15 million a year. If you knowing that you need to add at the center position going forward. But yeah, if he plays at this level, he's going to get a real offer in free agency. And I think that's thanks for your time, Anthony. But we have a bunch of younger, cheaper guys that we need to build around Tatum and Brown with. Where are you at?
It's gotten fascinating. It really has. And Brad has a huge decision to make over the next few weeks. One thing that stood out about his tenure is like he's willing to do things that are unpopular in the moment. He's willing to trade Marcus Smart, who was not just a fan favorite, but like beloved by teammates, super competitor, and he was willing to move Marcus Smart. He's kind of shown like whatever is best for the Celtics, that's what Brad's going to do. And so I think he'll he'll approach this Simons thing very like matter of factly, and if he thinks it's for the best for the team, then they'll ride it out. But also, no matter how well Simons is playing right now, if there's a deal that Brad thinks is better for positioning his team long term, for positioning his team short term, then he's going to be, aggressive looking to do that, even though at this point it would hurt to move Anthony Simons because of how well he's played, because of how great that bench has been. And because like Simons has helped make the Celtics just extremely difficult to guard.
It's gonna be a fascinating next 2 weeks. And the package now, Jay, it's like Simons, a young wing, and a first round pick. Like what could that get you? I think as high as I'm willing to go find Brad Stevens in terms of giving up stuff now. But suddenly, given how Simons has played and how well these young wings have played, it's fascinating to wonder what might be out there for a package like that, and whether that's enough of an upgrade in the front court, ideally, for them to jump at.
Honestly, as you look at the front court candidates, there's a few that I think could be difference makers. There are not a ton of big men out there.
No.
And like if Zubats doesn't go anywhere, then it kind of gets bleak immediately.
Right. And because like Gafford's not a difference maker, I feel like. You're sure not gonna offer that much for Gafford. Like you take him, but you're not offering any pick. I'm not offering like a good young wing or a first round pick for Gafford.
No, you're not gonna dip deep into your chest of assets to go get Daniel Gafford. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I think the other, and then if you can't get a good big, how hard do you try to get out of the luxury tax, if at all?
Right.
And that's when Bill Chisholm could look bad. Yeah. If they're making cost-cutting moves while second place in the East, while waiting for Jason Tatum to come back, and you're just like, yeah, you know what? I just dumped $12 million just to dump $12 million. That would be bad. They've already made a ton of salary-cutting moves. And look, I get it. The repeater tax is a bear. If you can get out of that luxury tax and start resetting that, it would have huge benefits moving forward. However, this team is worth investing into, and you're a new owner, and people are going to be judging you, and they're going to be evaluating what happened. They probably have PTSD after what the Red Sox have done over the last however many. And this is your first impression, and you can't screw it up. You can't look like you're cheap, even if it's smart business. You can't just be out there looking like you're cheap. And I think everybody understood all the cost-cutting moves over the summer.
They worked out.
There was no criticism of that, and I didn't think there should be criticism of that. Jason Tatum was out. They were way, way, way above the line where you could feel comfortable paying for a team that wasn't going to win it. I think and we've seen since, they needed to get younger too. They needed to have more energy. They couldn't move forward with the same group, even if they had unlimited money. If you would move forward with the same group, I think you run into some of the similar problems, which is that you were getting older, you were getting slower. The league was getting younger, the league was getting quicker. And Celtics have gone younger, they've gone quicker, and it's paid huge dividends. They've tapped into that youth, they've tapped into that energy, and Ugo, baby. All right. One more thing. Two more things I want to discuss. I took a Waymo in Atlanta.
How'd that go?
I put a video in the Patreon.
Did you do it? You put it in the chat?
It was wild. It was wild. So Uber in Atlanta, you could get a Waymo, and they ask you if you're okay with having a Waymo, which is a robot-controlled car, and I guess they're all Jaguars. So they pick you up in a Jaguar. The steering wheel is moving, but there's nobody there. There's like an iPad in the back. You have to press a button to start the ride. Then you can pick the music, the type of music you want, and you just kind of sit there and live the dream in the back seat while nobody's driving you. It's crazy. The future is wild. The future's wild.
Are these coming to Boston? Do you think this is something that can work?
I don't know. So I wasn't like scared of being in a Waymo. The one part of the experience that I did not like at all was thinking to myself, this is going to take jobs from so many people who actually drive Ubers.
True.
And I almost declined the Waymo just because of that, but I wanted to have the experience of being in a robot car for once. But at the same time, I was like, man, this is really going to impact a lot of people's jobs. That's a bummer. But also, I want my own Waymo because driving is just think of how productive you could be if you were on like an hour and a half drive and you could just be in the back seat pounding out a story.
That would help.
You could go so many places. You could do so many things. All right, point 2. The Bills were weak. I told you, people, the Bills were weak. I wanted the Patriots to be the ones to end them. Now Jarrett Stidham is waiting to face the Patriots.
This is the AFC Championship game today.
All those Bills fans who were in my Twitter mentions when the Patriots collapsed against them, that was your Super Bowl. You don't know what success in the Super Bowl is like. You win a game in week 14 or week 15, whatever that was, and you think you've won the Super Bowl. 5 turnovers. 5. Josh Allen got the ball back in overtime with a chance to end it. What happened? Could not get it done. I feel bad for that city. I feel bad for Josh Allen.
But he had too.
He had what, 4 turnovers?
Yeah.
You cannot win a road game with that many turnovers. You cannot be that sloppy and win a game on the road. He's crying. He's saying he let everyone down. You know what? You did. You did, Josh. Every other year, you could look at it and say, you know what? This was everybody else's fault. Josh Allen played like Superman. This year, as vulnerable as the team was around him, as few weapons as he had a great chance to beat that Broncos team and just could not get it done. The Broncos have a great defense, don't get me wrong. He hung 30 on them. He was outside of the 19 turnovers. He had a pretty good game, I guess. But Bills fans, don't you know how this goes by now? Don't you know that in week 14, when you're yelling at me, just the pain and destruction that's coming for you? Don't you understand that? You should. You should. You've had a lifetime of it.
Nope. No more Mahomes standing in the way.
So I watched the game with Bontemps, who's a Bills fan. He grew up close to Buffalo, and they've just beaten him down. Like he doesn't even expect to win at this point. He just kind of understood that pain was coming for him, and understood that it was going to end badly. Whether it was this week, next week in the Super Bowl, he just knew it was going to end badly somehow. I kind of felt bad for him watching that game because he never even let himself hope. It was just like he knew that death was coming for him. Yeah, but that was something else. I guess Derek White said that during the first quarter of the Celtics game, he kept asking Celtics PR guy Brian Olive for updates on the game because he's a big Broncos fan and was wondering what was going on in that game. After the game, he was literally watching Jarrett Stidham highlights on his phone.
That must have been a 2-minute video.
Into Jarrett Stidham. So,
yeah, that could be a wild week. We're recording this obviously before Pat's play, but if we get a Stidham versus Drake May, then I don't know. The Celtics the Patriots might have to be favored in that game. Even
Broncos defense is so good, though. I still think they could win with Stidham.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing at home. It's Denver. Denver's been a house horse for the Patriots for a lot of playoffs over the years. So, but the guy get there first. But the Bills are home, and that's, I think, the most important thing. All right, that's going to do it for us, Jay. Any other good road trip tidbits here? Behind the Waymos,
The Waymo.
Bontemps, misery. Like what a full podcaster. What a joy.
The Celtics, the vibes were high in the Celtics locker room last night. They were making fun of Hauser. They were chirping Derek White about Jarrett Stidham. They were having fun.
Why wouldn't you? After that performance, after this road trip, and we got a good one coming up, Jay. You'll be there Monday night. Celtics Pistons. Pistons beat the ever living crap out of the Pacers the other night. So those two, they will be well rested as well, and we will have a recap for you on that and much more all week long at Still Potable.
Patreon.com/stillpotable. Sign up, ladies and gentlemen. We love you all. Come in the chat. Come check it out. We love you. We miss you. We miss you. What do you mean we miss you? We'll see you later.
Still Potable, Still Potable. The Boston Celtics Still Potable, Still Potable.
Slow down from eating and drinking and all that wild stuff.